look like winter. And on their name, put some respect. Yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Whoa. Hey. How's everybody doing? Today, Eva wasn't able to come on the show tonight, so we kind of changed the topic. So instead of talking about cowards, we're gonna talk about I have another topic, and this topic is dealing with the reality of who and what we are and what we're trying to do in this world. And one of the things that we try to do is that you want to be able in a sense to see the world within its true experience. And sometimes it can be kind of frightening, because most of the time we don't really want to look at ourselves. We don't really want to examine who and what we are, because it's kind of frightening. It's kind of frightening when you have to really examine, who and what you are. And so what you find is that often, often it's important that we go through a process. Is that how do you become who you are? Think about that. How do you become who you are? That would seem like a simple answer. You can say, okay, first of all, you would go off your name, whatever your name is. I'm Clyde. Mary, um, Paul, whatever. Then the next thing you know, you say, well, I'm a man or I'm a woman. And then from there, you try to, in a sense, try to create an understanding of who you are. But this whole idea of lost and found is something that is kind of, in a sense, frightening to us. Because see, in reality, you spend all of your life trying to decide and determine who you are. You're trying to decide what you want to do. The first thing that happens is I remember, my father back in the day, he always told me, he said that as a man, you change every 7 years. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, whatever. And so every 7 years, he said that you changed. And so this is kind of an interesting concept to me because I said, damn, how can you, as a human being, be going through this constant process of change? And, I assume that it has to be true. I know that as most of the time as a man, when you get around 35, you start to question a lot of things that are going on in your life. When you get around 35, you start to, at least I found that many men, when you start getting 35, you start to compare yourself with other people, you know. And sometimes, in a sense, the comparison can be scary because you want to believe that you're just as good as anybody else, but at the same time, in a sense, you have to be true and honest to yourself. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided that, since Eve isn't coming on tonight, that I talk about lost and found. Because see, often we go through a process of trying to find ourselves. Sometimes we try to find ourselves as an individual. Sometimes, we we try to find somebody else. And, maybe we'll get married or we'll have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And we'll try to make that girlfriend or the boyfriend, the center of attention. We'll try to allow that girlfriend or boyfriend to define who and what we are. And the reason that we'll do this is because the fact that, in a sense, it's scary. It's scary. It's scary to know who you are, you see. Yeah, your mom and dad, they're the first ones to really bring this whole thing to you. It's your mom and dad that give you your sense of identity. They tell you, okay, your name is XYZ. When you were little, you did this, you did that. If you're lucky, maybe one of your older siblings may have gave you a little nickname. And then sometimes that nickname will stick with you all the way until you're grown. So again, in a sense, you're going through this constant process, and you're going through this process, you see. But at the same time that you're going through this process, where you're trying to discover who you are based upon, in a sense, what people are telling you, And so for much of your life, even though you never really want to admit it, much of your life, you're lost. And you're lost because, in a sense, you're trying to determine who and what you are. How you doing, Teresa? Tonight Eve's not going to be with us. She was a little bit under the weather today. But but in a way, you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to, in a sense, go down a path that can help you to be honest with yourself. I remember back in the day we had it was a very turbulent time back in the 60s and 70s. And it was a turbulent time because we were trying to define ourselves. We're defining ourselves based upon, in my case, Black power. And this whole idea of Black power, this whole idea that you were that Black man was a very difficult time. How you doing, Craig, so far? Thank you. Hopefully, Eve will feel better next week. But the fact is that when you're trying, in a sense, to determine who you are and what you are, and back in the 60s, it was kind of hard because see, you had a conflict. You had a conflict where, because of what was going on in the 60s and 70s, you decided that, at least I decided, that I was Black power. Because I decided I was Black power, because I decided, since that Black people should be respected, because I decided that Black people deserve to be given justice, and that Black people deserved, in a sense, to be able to move out of the ghetto, to move into better neighborhoods, to be able to live a more satisfying life, I chose to be a Black man. And that was an easy decision for me, but I didn't know that it was a decision that had a lot of consequences. You're probably saying, what were the consequences? Well, one of the consequences is that I may have thought about being Black power, but there were many people, in a sense, that didn't really believe in Black power. There were many other foundational Black Americans that were satisfied with the status quo. They really felt, in a sense, that as long as the European allowed them to make a little money, as long as the European didn't impede them from dominating the community or doing whatever they wanted to do in the community, everything was okay. As a result, you had a lot of gangs, and these gangs, in a sense, because of the fact that these gangs, mistakenly, a lot of gangs back in my day, they thought that they were going to do like the Jews did, or they were going to do like the Italians did. So they could start some sort of underworld activity, and they could have their gang, and their gang could be involved in some sort of criminal activities, and they would become rich, and they would be able, in a sense, to move their monies in other business. But they didn't understand. No, the European wasn't going to do that. The European wasn't going to let them do that. It's just like, we often hear about Black Wall Street and how Black Wall Street was destroyed. Or they talk about, in a sense, how when Black people returned from World War I and World War II, Europeans had riots to put black people down. You know, but then it's only recently, I know my father, he fought during World War II. He's in the military. But I mean, we didn't get the housing loans, and we didn't get all the money that the GI Bill promised us. And now I know that they deliberately kept that from us just so we could be successful. So what happens is that every time that you think that you're going to be able to be as good as the white man, that is a problem. That is a problem, see. Whenever you believe that the best way to find out who you are is to be able to live the life of a white man, to be able, in a sense, to live the life of white folk, then you're going to lose. And the reason you're going to lose is that you're not white. And not only is that you're not white people, in a sense, have created a system of racism. And in this system of racism, they've decided that due to white supremacy, they should remain on top. And that they hate you, they want to kill you. And they created a system of racism in which they've created a race in which they're going to always win, you see. And so in a sense, if you dare to think you're going to be like a white man or a white woman, then you're lost. Because see, white people see you as superior to them. Because they see you as superior to them, then when you want to be just like them, when you want to be white, then what you're doing, in a sense, is that you're not going to be successful. Because see, white people see you as competition. But if you think you're safe just by becoming white, then they'll say, okay, that's fine. But at the same time, in a sense, you will not progress. You will not be able, in a sense, to really maximize your potential or even maximize your abilities. Yeah, they'll let you have a little this and a little that, but you won't really, in a sense, be able to really maximize your creativity, because the fact is this is that you're going to limit yourself. Because by limiting yourself and claiming that you're just as good as white people, when white people feel you're superior to them, that means that you will never, as long as you catch CAIDS, culturally acquired immune identity deficiency syndrome, once you catch CAIDS and think you're white, you're lost. You're lost. Because see, how do you expect, in a sense, to be successful when these people think that you're superior to them? If these people think you're superior to them, then therefore, in a sense, you have to stop being lost. See, you become lost. Once you lose your identity, once, in a sense, you begin to say, I'm just as good as a white man. I want to be treated like a white man. I want to be treated like a white woman. I'm just as good as they are. Then therefore, in a sense, you're lost. You lose. You lose because you've caught CAIDS, culturally acquired immune identity deficiency syndrome. And what CAIDS does is that CAIDS make you believe, in a sense, that you're white. It makes you, in a sense, give up your identity as a foundational Black American. And then you decide, in a sense, that the best route for you to do is to be a white man or a white woman. You cannot be a white man or a white woman because, first of all, in a sense, they feel that you're superior to them. Yes. White people feel that as a foundational Black American, you're superior to them. And the reason, in a sense, that they feel that you're superior to them is that's why they had to create this system of white supremacy. And that's why they had to create a system of racism. Create so far made an interesting comment. CAIDS, the rapper Ice Cube, made a song about it called True to the Game. On the song, he says, that's right, you ain't white, so stop holding your butt tight. That's right, but, he's absolutely correct. But the thing is this, is that whenever, in a sense, you catch CAIDS, it's something, in a sense, that ensures that you will never maximize your potential as a Black person. You see, because you can't maximize your potential as a Black person when you feel you're just as good as people who see you as being superior to them. See, it's just like a lot of times people get mad at me because I say a white person cannot love you. You can get into a financial relationship with them. Uh, you can call it marriage or whatever, and y'all can work things out. And maybe as long as you can avoid major arguments, you may be okay. But you can't. A white man or a white woman can never love you, and the reason they can never love you is because the fact is that they've been taught in a sense to see you as beneath them. They've been taught to feel that in a sense, you're not up to their standards. Look at the fact that many black women, a lot of times they're arguing and say, well, I'm not going to take care of a man. He doesn't have as much education as me, so he's not on my level. And yet you'll see black women such as the lady who plays tennis and these other black women who are married white men. And then they'll be the ones, they're not marrying white men that have more money than them. They're marrying white men that have less money than them. Yes. They're marrying white men that have less money than them. You see, at least the white women, when the white women marry a brother, they try to get a brother who's a millionaire, a brother who's going to be an athlete, or a brother's going to be a doctor. But they're marrying people in a sense based upon the fact that they see the potential. They see the potential in that black man to provide them with a good lifestyle and provide them with economic security. And yet a lot of black women, they're the ones who provide the economic security to their white husbands. It's really kind of pathetic that these black women will talk about a black man is no good. And they'll say that a black man, they shouldn't be with a black man because that black man can't take care of them. That black man isn't on their level. That black man, in a sense, isn't working hard, and that white men take care of their women, blase, blase, blase. And yet when you see these people, they marry these white men, and they're the ones with the money. Get out of here. They're the ones with the money, Look at the girl who's the tennis star, She's worth more. She's worth millions and millions of dollars more than the white guy that she's married to. And some of these other people, But again, in a sense, they don't see anything wrong with that because these black people who marry white people or have a white girlfriend or a white boyfriend, they feel in a sense that they're able in a sense to acquire, pseudo whiteness. Yes, they feel that they're going to acquire pseudo whiteness. No, they never can become white. They aren't going to be white. They're not going to be respected as a person who should be seen as someone who's degenerate. They're going to be seen as someone who's beneath their the person who they claim they love and love them. Because the fact is that a European cannot love you because he can't see who you are. He can't see who you are, you see. And because a European can't see who you are, then you become lost. You become lost because, see, you're living in a fantasy world, you see. And once you lose your blackness, once you lose, in a sense, your identity through CAIDS, culturally acquired identity immune deficiency syndrome, then you're lost to the world, you see. And yet this is happening every day. You see these black athletes, it can be sometimes they may get a Latina, but most of the time they're getting, in a sense, many of the black athletes, they're getting these white women. And a lot of times they feel that that's what they're supposed to have. They feel that if they're really going to be legitimate, if they're really going to be legitimate millionaires and be legitimate, what they think men or human beings or men, that the only way that they can be a real man and not a black man is that they can get that white woman or that white, or they believe they can be, in a sense, a real woman if they can get that white man to marry them, or the black man may feel that he can become a real man if he can, in a sense, get that white woman to somehow pay attention to him, to somehow love him, because, see, they feel, in a sense, is that to really be, in a sense, an individual who's found himself, then you have to, in a sense, go white, because you have to go white because to them, to these people, no matter what they say, to these people, they think that to really be a human being, they feel that to really, in a sense, be a real man or a real woman, they have to, in a sense, have some pseudo whiteness. And the best way to get pseudo whiteness is between that white person's legs. And they feel, in a sense, that if they can be associated with that white person, then therefore, in a sense, maybe some of that whiteness may rub off on them. No, it doesn't rub off. You're still seen as a black person. You're still, in a sense, looked down upon. You're still, in a sense, feeling inferior. I was looking at this girl, the tennis player. I can't think of her name right now. I'll think about it as soon as the show is over. And so she's married this white guy. And if you notice, she's been trying to brighten herself up. She's been trying, in a sense, get her skin lightened and all of that, trying to get her hair a little bit more straighter. It's just that she's hoping that she can metamorphose. She can go through a metamorphosis like a butterfly, that maybe she can turn from that Negro bed wench to, in a sense, a white bed wench. But the point is that they can't change, you see. They can't change. And so then at the same time, you see in this person, and by the simple fact that you've married this white person, and you want to be seen as a white person, that shows a lack of your identity. It shows, in a sense, an inferiority complex. And because you lack any sense of self, since you lack any sense of being, then in a sense, you are in reality a lost person. You're a lost person. When you catch AIDS, culturally acquired immune deficiency syndrome, you see, you're lost because, see, just like Melvin Reed said, is that it is written, can a leopard change its spots? No. And a European cannot stop hating you just because they sleep with you. A European cannot stop desiring, in a sense, to put you down, or that you're less than them just because they marry you, just because they're with you. No, they can't stop that because they've been ingrained with the whole idea since they were children that you're worthless. They've been taught, in a sense, that you're not trustworthy. They've been taught, in a sense, that you're in a sense a person who shouldn't be respected. Create so far said whiteness also rubs off on us through the design of mass media. I feel like it has a large part on how we perceive them. If we don't have their and our true identity and historic context true, we do need to know our history, but in a sense, back in the day when I was growing up, the media had a great role to play. How you saying, Yoshi? How you doing, Yoshimot? The media had a great role to play in terms of how we perceived ourselves. But I don't think it's so much the media today. I think a lot of people today, in a sense, because when we look at commercials now, back when I was growing up, when you saw commercials, you saw the white man in the car, and beside the white man was a white woman. But now in the last 4 or 5 years, they have a lot of integrated things. What up though, Yoshi? But they have a lot of integrated things, and they want, in a sense, present this picture of the integrated family. And this is very important to them. But in reality, in a sense, is that when you see these black athletes, or you see these black male athletes, or these black women who are entertainers or athletes, and they're marrying these white men, it's just in a sense that these are people who have no sense of identity. These are people, in a sense, who have lost their mind in a way. Yes, they've lost their mind. They've lost their mind because by the simple fact that they cannot desire to be with their own kind. The simple fact, in a sense, that they cannot, in a sense, be with their own black person as a husband or as a wife. That shows, in a sense, not only an inferiority complex, it also shows, in a sense, a mental illness. Yes, you had to be mentally ill to marry people who hate you, people who want to kill you, people who want to take you down. You see, you know, you have to, how you doing, Ralph? You have to, in a sense, you have to be sick to be able, in a sense, to feel that some people who've been taught since they were knee high that you're worthless, that you're nothing, you're no good. You had to believe that. How can you believe that those people can get away from that indoctrination for 20 years? Yes, 20 years. They've been indoctrinated for 20 years to see you as being worthless. They've been indoctrinated for 20 years to see you as a Black person, that you should be kept down, that you should not be allowed, in a sense, to be granted any type of respect, you see. And so then, therefore, in a sense, to really find yourself, you have to begin, in a sense, to stop this disassociation. What I might mean by disassociation is a psychological behavior that people do so that they can not have to deal with reality. A lot of times we can disassociate by, in a sense, claiming that that maybe, in a sense, we're somebody different, or we can pretend, in a sense, that we're a professional. A lot of times, in a sense, you think that this only takes place when you're a teenager or younger and you're growing up and you have these fantasies about who you want to become. But a disassociation can also come from the fact, in a sense, that we want to disassociate. Many adults want to disassociate. Many adults, in a sense, really hate the fact that they're Black, and they hate the fact that they're foundational Black Americans, because they feel just if they were white, things would be so different. When 9 to 1, it wouldn't be that much different. You see, if you still lack the confidence, if you still lack, in a sense, the drive, if you still lack, in a sense, the ability to be all that you can be, it doesn't matter what race you are. You're not going to be successful. You know why? Because successful people, they take themselves into their own hands, and they say that I'm going to model me. I'm going to make me the best. I'm going to make me, in a sense, the best person, whatever I want to be. Look at it like this. Most people, in a sense, who are successful, they made decisions when they were kids. For example, I made 2 decisions when I was young. When I was a kid, I decided, one, I wanted to be an historian, and I wanted to be a teacher, you see. And so then, so throughout my life, I strived, in a sense, to study history and to teach. And so then therefore, in a sense, but I decided on this at an early age, you know. See, it's just like some people may say they want to be an actor, a doctor, or a lawyer. You know, then a lot of times, you know, these things, you work on them for years. They don't just come about overnight. They don't just come about, you just decide one day, I'm going to do this. No, what it is that you make a plan and you decide that you're going to move forward. And so really, in a sense, to really go through that process of lost and found is that you have to realize, in a sense, that you've been lost. Because you've been lost through those years, in a sense, when you really weren't able to work towards your goal, or you were lost because you didn't really know what you wanted to be. But see, once you decide on who you are, once you decide, in a sense, that you're, you know, as Yoshi Ma said, truth is moving forward. Yes, you have to move forward, you see. And that is the beauty. That's the beauty of just what we're doing. You know, Yoshi Ma is the genius. And what makes Yoshi Ma the genius is that Yoshi Ma, in a sense, he knows how to study our history. He knows how to teach us things. He makes so many beautiful videos. And these videos, in a sense, you know, help us to understand who and what we are, because he knows how to take pictures and use these pictures to help us to be all that we can be. And one of his greatest videos is, you know, FBA Roots.
No need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA Roots, FBA Roots, FBA Roots. FBA roots. The Moors once ruled from woman to man. In Europe's heart they went. Dr. Clyde reveals the hidden past, where blackness thrived, a vivid past. No need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Oh, no need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. From rooms to moors, the truth is told. Stories of strength, being black is bold. Cultures blended, histories merged. A bond of funk, our souls converge. European tales, they twisted well to hide the truth, but their plans soon fail. See, Dr. Clyde's light shines beyond bright. We the black aboriginals are righteous in this fight. Are righteous in this fight. European tales, they twisted well. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Face FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots.
You know, the point is this, is that it's very important because, see, just like Yoshimod in that video, he talked about FBA roots. You can get all of his videos, all of his music, you can get it at that yoshimod.gumroad.com. Check it out. You know, you should have these videos. But see, the beauty of that video is that it allows us to situate ourselves, you know, and not just be you know, wondering where to go, wondering who we are, wondering how to find ourselves. You see, and it's through knowing who you are that allows you, in a sense, to not be lost. Because see, you're lost. You're lost whenever you don't know your history. You're lost whenever you don't know, in a sense, your truth. I mean, just think about this. You know, if your parents never tell you your name, if your parents never tell you about your siblings, if your parents never tell you about your relatives, just think about how horrible that would be. I remember one of the most pitiful things that I used to hear when I was teaching. You know, because I mainly taught in all black schools. You know, and one of the things that I used to hate is to hear a student say, "I don't have a daddy," you know. And so when they would say, "I don't have a daddy," and I would say, "Well, everyone has a father." But they say, "My mom never told me my father was. I don't know who my father is," all that type of stuff. So I wouldn't push it further because I knew that was painful. I knew that was hurt. And one of the reasons it was painful and hurtful is because for some reason, the mom wouldn't tell her daughter or tell her son about their heritage. See, your reality is determined by who you are. But you begin with your first recognition or your first conscious experience of who you are, you see, is when somebody tells you that you're their son, you're their daughter. You see, you're their grandson, you're their granddaughter. It's these intimate relations that allow you to come and be as one. I'll admit, I've heard of some people, in a sense, their families are so disjointed, their families are so messed up that they have a very bad family situation, you know. And sometimes there's competition because they may have different fathers, and one father of one child may give a little bit more to their child than another father. So it can be very confusing, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's important that before you have children, you should at least try to, in a sense, be married so that they won't be bastards. I'll never forget. I always told my sons that please, don't say, please, marry the girls who you have children by, because I want to see my grandkids. I said, if you don't, in a sense, marry the girls who have your children, they may not allow me to see my grandchildren. I want to see my grandchildren. I mean, that's the basic part of life. The basic part of life, in a sense, is being able to have a family, and the way that you can have a family, in a sense, the way you can find out who you are, the way you won't be lost, is by having a sense of family, a sense of relations, a sense of being able, in a sense, to know who and what you are. This week in Newsweek, they had a very interesting issue, and they were talking about homeschooling, and they were talking about that many people are moving to homeschooling, and I think it's one of the things that people should do. And one of the reasons that homeschooling is good is because, see, many people have lost their identity, and they've lost their identity. They don't know who they are because they're not being taught properly. Sometimes, in a sense, if you go to a homeschool, you can at least, in a sense, be taught by your parents, and your parents may be able, in a sense, to give you a sense of identity so you won't be lost. Today is today. We need to homeschool our children due to white supremacy. In many states, education departments are passing laws to deny our children from learning the history of foundational Black Americans. Today, you can learn how to organize and teach your children in a homeschool in my book, A Guide to Homeschool Foundational Black Americans. You can use my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, to teach our children their history here in the United States. You can use my book to teach world history. And this book I've written is called The World History of the Black World. This will teach your children about every Black civilization in the world. Get this book. The time is now. Get these books to teach your children about their greatness, to prevent them from losing confidence in their own ability to learn and be successful future adults in employment and education.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
Again, also that's an option, and that if I had little children, I would do that. And but I think that you have to be kind of brave. You have to be kind of courageous to really want to homeschool your children, because even though they have a very good article in Newsweek magazine this week, and they're talking a lot about this whole idea of homeschooling, and they mention the fact, in the sense that it's becoming popular. So get on the bandwagon. We got the information out there. I've already shown you an article on how you can homeschool your children, and we also, in a sense, have FBA Sunday School, where if you don't really want to take on the entire task of trying to educate your children, you can, in a sense, at least go through that process of, in a sense, of at least letting them attend, FBA Sunday School, so they can at least get an understanding of of who and what they are. Because, see, we have to fight this whole idea of a lack of identity, a lack of mental illness. Many of us, in a sense, find it hard sometimes to really find books to help our children out, and yet you have to, in a sense, try to find books that can show them who they are, but beautiful books, not books in the sense that are going to make them, feel ashamed of themselves. Yoshimata has written a very good book, and he has another. This one is pretty, but he has one that's even more colorful, more beautiful. And I'm trying to get him to publish that. But if you do want to help your child, is that you should have your child read at home. Let me tell you what you should do. You want to develop reading comprehension. And what you want to do is that to help develop reading comprehension, back in the day, I used to buy a newspaper every day, and I would read the newspaper on my way to work, and then when I got a car, I wouldn't read the newspaper a lot of times. But those of you, in a sense, who do maybe take public transportation to work, the thing is, this is that you should if you read the newspaper every day, and even if you don't, in a sense, take public transportation, if you read the newspaper every day, after you read an article, you should have your child read the article. Yes. You should have your child read the article. And then after your child reads the article, then the child, in a sense, what they can do is that you can ask them, since you've already read the article, you can ask them, well, what did you read, baby? What was the article about? What did you learn from that article? And see, because you've already read the article, what you're doing is that you're enhancing the reading comprehension of your children, because you're asking them questions. And see, that's what reading comprehension is all about. Reading comprehension is being able to talk about what you've read and explain to people what you've learned, you see. And, that's one of the reasons why I brought the fact that you could get the various books, to teach in a homeschool. But we also need books, in a sense, for the younger children. And Yoshimata has written a very beautiful book that you should get for your child. It's called The Bloom. You should check it out.
Parents, looking for a story that would not only captivate your little one's imagination, but would also teach valuable lessons. The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Andito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you, Hotel.
That book, get that book. That book, in a sense, it can help you along with FBA Sunday School. Because, see, the thing is this, is that don't always just wait for Europeans to teach your children. Remember, it's your role as a parent to prepare your child for the world. It's your role as a parent to teach your child the knowledge that can help them to be B1. Yes, you want your child to be B1. The only thing that can save you is B1, B1, B1. To fight Cage, you must stay black first. Again, in a sense, you want to be B1 black first, because when you're B1, you're black first. When you're B1, you're brilliant first, because see, black means brilliant. The original word for black stood for brilliance. The reason it stood for brilliance is because many of the earliest kings in Europe called themselves Dub, which meant, in a sense, black, Douglas Black. And because they saw themselves as being beautiful, then naturally, in a sense, the word black was a word that signified beauty. And so then, therefore, in a sense, you should try to teach your children, get them, in a sense, in a program. If you can't teach them yourself, try to send them to FBA Sunday School, because at least FBA Sunday School will give them, in a sense, the knowledge, give them the support, help them, in a sense, to be able to have pride and respect of themselves.
Supplemental detrimental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
You know, Ralph says, I homeschooled 3 of my children over 20 years ago. Yes. It's nothing wrong with that. You just had to be bold. You just had to be adventurous, because see, they found, in a sense, I was reading this article, as I said, in Newsweek magazine, and it was talking about the fact that the kids who are homeschooled, they have higher test scores. Kids who are homeschooled, they know, in a sense, how to deal with people. Kids who have been homeschooled, they have a greater, in a sense, habit of learning, and they see learning as being, in a sense, lifelong learning. So it's very important, in a sense, that you do this, because if by trying to teach your children, by trying to get them the right things to do, and therefore, in a sense, you can be able to have them move forward. Tom's Pie, what makes Tom's Pie very interesting, this brother, in a sense, he understands that another way, in a sense, to really help children is for these children, in a sense, to have a concept of identity. And what he's done is that he's been able, in a sense, to make jewelry. Yes, he's been able to make jewelry that in a sense shows our ancestry. You should try to buy your kids some of this jewelry. Support Tom's Pie.
Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Take energy, come at like whoa. Spring water, let it go. Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know. Let it nigga know. Energy, come at like whoa. Spring water, let it go. Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Energy, come at like whoa. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, she told me go and put it in her heart. I told her I don't wanna break it all apart. Let me be a night light in the dark. Hey, my nigga shine bright with the art. Gemini 2 time, know it's hard. Got the stars on the line with the charts. Big dog, so I gotta leave a mark. Free your mind, cause I'm all that smart. Hey, energy, come at like whoa. Spring water, let it grow. Free your mind, let it go. To the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, come at like whoa. Spring water, let it go. Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know.
2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I introduced people to the reality that our surnames, yes, that we didn't really always get our surnames from our slave masters. I was one of the first people to really explain that our surnames come from the Black Irish and other Black Europeans who were made chattel slaves, you see. And so, see, it's always important that you learn history. It's always important that you learn how to do research. And by learning how to do research, you can find out more about yourself and you can be B1. The only thing that can save you is B1, B1, B1. To fight Cage, you must stay Black first. And and the best way to do that is to do research. You have to do your own research. If you're going to, in a sense, be trying to teach your children, or if you're going to be, in a sense, trying to make sure that you can avoid, succumbing to the AIDS epidemic, the AIDS pandemic, culturally acquired immune deficiency syndrome, where you lose your Blackness, you have to, in a sense, learn how to do research. And it doesn't take money to do research, but what it does take is skill and having a knowledge of how to do it. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, let the researcher do the research. Dr. Clyde Winters, let him do the research. We need more researchers like Dr. Clyde Winters. Yes. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, we don't understand that it takes people who want to do research to be able, in a sense, to tell us our history. Yes, many people have taken my course, The Afrocentric Researcher. You can take it too. All you got to do is join. But if you don't, in a sense, join, understand that it's through your hard work, through your persistence that you can become a researcher. Yes, yes, yes. Let the researcher do the researcher. You know what? I've written some books that can help you to be a researcher. Those books are Pathfinder, Clive Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentric Studies. Yes, yes, this book is an important book. It'll help you learn all about your history. My other book is Afrocentric Researcher by Dr. Clive Winters. This book, in a sense, is the most important book that you will find. What makes this book important is that the Afrocentric Researcher provides you with a course, yes, provides you with a course outline that tells you all the things you do to be a great researcher. Yes, get these books, The Afrocentric Researcher, and in a sense, get my book, Pathfinder. These books are the books you need to be successful, the books that will make you a great researcher. Get these books, but let the researcher do the research, but you can be the researcher too. Yoshimar the genius, that Yoshimar the genius, what he's done in a sense, he took my research course. And the thing is, this is that he does a lot of great research, and he takes his research that he's learned and he puts it in the videos. That's why, here's one of the videos.
I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow.
Okay, notice how, in a sense, Yoshimar recognizes our ancestry. He recognizes that FBA people are unique, and that FBA people are not, we didn't all come from Africa. What he does is that he shows, in a sense, that our ancestral roots, our genetic roots go back to our not African, but our Aboriginal heritage, our Aboriginal experiences in these United States. Yes, yes, Yoshimar the genius. He does research. He knows our history.
I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may die. What's it that you don't want me to say? Ain't been big on my listen to me. Sometimes I feel like the lane that I made. On my grandma, the wizard of me. Leave me behind and left me astray. What is the truth that was going on with me? Told me be cool, don't just have a nice day. Some things are just easy to say. Wish I could stop me from breathing a day. Don't have no food and they swimming on me. Out in the ocean, away from the bay. I've been drifting along far away. I went up in to keep them away. See what you see, but I just cannot stay. Force me to lane and they want me to drink. Can't do the crime, that don't suit me. Mine, unfortunately, ain't my sorrow. So many follow, living in hollow. Bring on the idol, listen to Carlo. Living to borrow, living to borrow. Living in call home, shooting a hollow. Shooting a chrono, about the carnal. Some men know you. Look out in the eye, all known. Seeing that is a pyramid. Hey, they saw me get, that is a primitive. Call it the miseries, got the hook to the ring. Chill it, the color quiz, that's what the mission is. We are the guinea pigs. Music for feeling it. Tired of the silliness. No longer feeling it. Feeling we're killing it. Feeling it. Swimming this message off of the shore into the abyss. Deep in, I may ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may be followed. I'm out the ocean and I may be hollow. At any given time, I may die. Working for Genie, what a Feenie. Take you to Feenie, how would they see me? Sleazy bikinis, nothing but weenies. Wearing a beanie, feeling bikini. Changing the scenery, Swimming in misery, so many lies on me. Probably got you on TV, believe me. Pulling your memories, killing the name. They never just admit that they got me. Machiavelli could have never been sloppy. We can see it's nothing but copies. Listen, cooked up in that lobby. Billie Holiday just was a body. George Clinton committed them robberies. It seems he went for the lottery. This all falls in one category. We all call it a mystery. I'm the villain you all see. They glory to those who all see. Pendergrass set up like Eddie Murphy. Your car crash, they just hating on me. Gotta make a comeback like Bill Cosby. Kobe Bryant playing conspiracy. Get me back for taking a knee. But they just be kidding me. Like I'm a turban, hit when I'm swerving. Black house cursing, supernova curving. More laceration, installation, no motivation. Straight elimination, your animation, alienation, annihilation. All for the taking, taking like taking. Omen faking, us first nation. Who you saving? Change like Raven, save me David. Had to shake 'em, who's a brave one? Now you craving. Even Jaden save 'em. Taylor paving, who we faking? Mary make 'em misbehaving. We the brave men, before we down in the water, got a deep dive. I'm in the ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby follow. I'm out the ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby follow. I'm out the ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby follow. I'm out the ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby always one who took a rain. Came from the cave, made from the maid, created the slave. Slip out of water, fiction is harder. Why do they bother? Over my head, curse like a daughter. Same boat, same fate, only in slaughter. Slip dope, jet bro, same as a father. Justify life, why should it be harder? Abomination, make things water. See how they come, all in one. Force me to gun, force me to the slum. Live up the crime, father's hung. Faces beyond, live as one. Betraying the nuns, speak for the young. Nobody's dumb, maybe just someone they young. Maverick approach, truth by Yojo. And the patty will grow, just as the Ogo came off the old phone. E-I-E-I-O-E-O song. Training the wheel until it's all gone. Gotta go deeper, dive with the people. Some turn lethal, neighbors is evil. Go from the right, give up the pain. No human right, kill them on sight. Many to spare, many beware. I see that I'm there, I see that I'm here. Ready with flash, calling all bad. Agendas are here, we the illusion, not disappear. As hard as my chin, deep dive. I'm a ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby follow. I'm out the ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby follow. I'm out the ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby follow. I'm out the ocean and my baby hollow. At any given time, my baby follow.
Yes. At any given time. But as I said, Yoshimod the genius. You can get his up. You can get all of his videos at yoshimod.gumroad.com. You can go there and you can buy all of his videos, get these videos, and buy his book, because his book is so beautiful. Because see, even if your kids are going to school, give them supplemental knowledge. Give them supplemental knowledge, and the best way to give them this is that, first of all, you try to get my book in a sense, which can teach them history, and then you get Yoshimod's books. You see, because these books, in a sense, will help our children to know what's going on. We have to start to begin to homeschool our children, even if they go to school every day. Today is today. We need to homeschool our children due to white supremacy. In many states, education departments are passing laws to deny our children from learning the history of foundational Black Americans. Today, you can learn how to organize and teach your children in a homeschool in my book, A Guide to Homeschool Foundational Black Americans. You can use my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, to teach our children their history here in the United States. You can use my book to teach world history. And this book I've written is called The World History of the Black World. This will teach your children about every Black civilization in the world. Get this book. The time is now. Get these books to teach your children about their greatness, to prevent them from losing confidence in their own ability to learn and be successful future adults in employment and education. Get those books. You can have them. Even if your kids aren't being homeschooled, buy those books so that your kids can have some real literature so they can know who they are. We got to fight Cades. And don't forget to get Yoshimod's book, The Bloom.
Parents, Looking for a story that would not only captivate your little one's imagination, but would also teach valuable lessons? The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Andito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you, Hotel.
And it's very important that if you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Yes, yes, yes. Support Yoshimod, support me, buy our books. Get these books into the hands of your children so your children will not catch AIDS. You have to, in a sense, support the ones.
If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears and stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. What I say. Don't let them take control your atmosphere. What I say. I am you. Control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. What I say. Don't let them suck your energy. What I say. It's a distraction away from me. I am you and you are me. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow. I said nobody but yourself. Don't follow. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow yourself. Nobody. Yourself. Nobody but yourself.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.